What's good, YouTube? Right now, we're gonna react to some Tucker Carlson exposed Trump weakness in the face of Israel desire. Pretty much what Tucker Carlson is saying, that Trump is pretty much he's Israel's puppet. He do what they say whenever they say it. He has no say so whatsoever. But we're gonna see what Tucker Carlson is talking about. 25-minute video. I'll probably make about 35. Sit down, relax. It's like 12 o'clock at night on a Sunday going into Monday. Relax. Man, look, bro. Like, bro, roll up. Get a grip. Get a grip. Roll up. Put me on. Lean back. Relax. And talk about politics. Talk about how we can make America better. You know? Talk about how we can unite each other. Americans. Nobody else. Americans. America. You know? Let's get to it.
The more you understand that the elected president of the United States has power, for sure, but he does not have sovereignty. He does not have unlimited power or full freedom of motion to act on behalf of his voters. He just doesn't. I mean, we're watching it now on this and many other topics. Trump brings us to war on February 28th without making the case to the American public, without convincing even the majority of Americans this is a good idea. Like, no one was for this from day one.
Donald Trump has shown weakness when it comes to Israel's desires, and in fact is operating on behalf of the Israel lobby that's plunging us into war, having the United States bankroll genocides, all while Americans languish. And that's what Tucker Carlson is talking about here in this interview with Bloomberg, in a thoroughly adversarial interview. And he lays down uncomfortable truths for the American right that don't bode well for the Republicans going forward. Let's see what he has to say about it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hype it if you can.
Trump allowed the U.S. government to be completely steered by this tiny little country in the Middle East, Israel, to our great detriment. And I watched it happen. I was offended by it. I argued against it directly to him. That had no effect at all. And then we wound up in a war with Iran that has gravely hurt the United States. And it was out of my frustration that I said that, but not some calculation that I'm going to get rich or something by saying it. You know, that's just true.
Yeah, but it must be energizing to have a great...
I don't even know what the fuck he said, but hey, she gonna say it again. She's ready to talk. She's ready to go in.
...to reach right now than you did a few months ago.
So I look at it different. It's funny. I don't know that we do have I mean, I really don't know if that's true. But from my perspective, you know, the year that preceded...
This nigga lit. How's it, man? Did he bite himself? That chapstick? That chap? What this nigga lit?
This war, I spent pretty... I don't know, tireless is the right word, but I mean, I was very focused on preventing a war with Iran and wrapping up the war between Russia and Ukraine, which is also damaging the United States gravely and Europe gravely. And
Europe, sure.
From my perspective, I had no effect at all. Like, nothing I wanted to happen happened. I had no power, I had no influence, and I think I'd kind of talked myself into believing that I could have some effect. And at the end, I didn't. And so that part of that was my vanity and my silliness. And, you know, men tend to think they're more powerful than they really are.
I love how honest he is. Hey, Tucker, bro, I respect that shit. Because you admitted, you was like, you know what, bro, I probably got my head over my heels. I got over my head over my heels. And he probably like, damn, bro, I'm an influencer, but I was thinking I'm powerful enough to stop a war. I think I'm powerful enough to really stop other countries. And I just thought I was that powerful, but I'm not. Hey, it takes a man to admit that. It takes a man to admit that, man. It does.
And I think that happened to me to some extent. But I felt like all of my efforts came to naught, and I didn't feel like a winner. I felt like a loser.
At the point that we're talking right now, President Trump, all by himself, without Benjamin Netanyahu by his side, has said the ceasefire is over. And the United States in the last 24 hours has hit more than 80 Iranian targets.
Right.
So isn't the more honest and direct thing to do hold him fully accountable for his actions as the most powerful man in the world?
Nigga, bitch, fuck you. Nigga, no. Fuck you. No. What? No. Yeah, Trump fault. But yet, the fully hold him accountable for what Israel's doing? Nigga, no. The ceasefire is only breaking because we got to attack through Israel. That's why the ceasefire break. We're only in war because of Israel. It's not Trump's fault we're in war. I mean, it is his fault, but on American soil. But it's not Trump's fault we in war. It's Israel's. It's not whose. What the fuck nigga name is. It's his fault. He the one telling Trump to do shit. It's him. Nobody else but him. He the one saying he's not taking it. He's not leaving Lebanon. Israel not stopping the fight. We support them. Don't fully blame Trump. It's not all his fault. Pretty much he's trying to put the whole situation of Iran on the U.S. Nah, it's your fault. Don't do that.
World.
I don't think he's the most powerful man in the world. I have held him directly accountable. It's his fault. He's the U.S. president. He was elected. That's his job. And a huge part of the job is resisting pressure from outside forces. I mean, many presidents have, to varying degrees, resisted, attempts.
I don't think anybody ever resisted Israel. This is different. This is not like a Russian influence, a China influence, Middle East influence. This is an Israel influence. This is like they've been in our government for years, decades. They got deep ties into our shit. It's not no just regular country.
To control them from outside, and he didn't. So
yeah, I mean, she's kind of painting the kind of scenario in a way that sets the parameters that Trump doesn't blame, or Tucker doesn't blame Trump for acquiescing to bending to the will of the Israelis when it comes to Iran, but he does do that. He's simply saying that this is part of a powerful lobbying organization, a lobbying structure that has taken hold for a long time. And you can make easily the argument that Trump has yielded to the Israel lobby more fiercely than maybe any other U.S. president. I think that is a good case to make, but he isn't absolving Trump of wrongdoing, not whatsoever. He is blaming Trump. Now, whether or not Trump is the most powerful man in the world depends on whether Trump is doing the bidding of the regime. When he's doing the bidding of the regime, the U.S. president is the most powerful actor in the world. He can propel the most power. You can wake up as an American and find out.
Nah, Trump's still, yes, it's Trump's fault, but Trump's still the most powerful man in the world. If you're talking about like raw power, like raw military power, he's for sure the strongest man in the world. Like, hands down, like, for sure. If every country was to go back to their own country, and all military go to war with each other, country versus country versus country versus country, there's no teams or nothing, just one-on-one, 1v1, 2v1, whatever it is, invasions, then the United States will win. Every time. Every time. And shit, I was bad for Canada and Mexico. Good luck getting here. They can get here through walking, and it's 1v1s. They no teams. They shit. Good luck getting through Texas. Good luck getting through Texas. Good luck getting through Arizona. And good luck getting through California. Texas, the main one. Good luck getting through Texas. Them niggas waiting. They're waiting. But how y'all ever watch Internet City? Huh? You ever watch Internet City? Nigga, Internet Aaron? That nigga's a crash out. Yeah, he a crash out. He Texas. He's ready. I mean, he ready for war. Nigga, crash out.
You're at war because he's launched it on behalf of the powerful lobbies, not just the Israel lobby, but the bankers, the military-industrial
This is a really bad pause on Tucker Carlson.
complex, big energy, etc., big tech. You know, Palantir's deciding who lives and dies in Ukraine and Gaza, so they're all wrapped up in this. That is the case. But yeah, Trump deserves culpability. Tucker's never said that he doesn't deserve culpability. He's just saying that Trump was persuaded to launch this war on behalf of the Israelis. He's absolutely right about that.
He's weak. I'm not pretending otherwise. But it's also just a factually verifiable statement that Israel pushed us into this, and Trump allowed them to do that. The Secretary of State himself said that on camera. So this is not like a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. The United States is unwilling to, or maybe unable, who knows, to restrain Israel. Like, I'm on the outside. I'm not talking to Trump anymore. I haven't spoken to him since late February, so I don't really know. But I, have a news feed, so I know that we did not restrain our ally and partner in this war, Israel. And so, of course, it was never going to work.
Okay, but it's one thing to seek to influence the US president. Many countries have done that with greater or lesser success over the years. It's another thing to look at the elected leader of the world's only superpower, only real superpower at this point, and say he is not the most powerful man in the world. Are you really saying that Netanyahu is a more powerful figure than Trump?
Franklin University makes it possible.
Be unstoppable with a master's degree.
Franklin University makes it possible. They better sign me up right now.
No.
In my opinion, I think he is. I think he's stronger than Trump when it comes to influence-wise. Because he's influencing our government to do the bullshit they're doing. That's why. Other than that, nah, he ain't strongest. He ain't stronger. Hell nah. No way possible. Nigga, Trump win that shit at 1v1 too. No way Trump.
I don't. And the United
Don't put Trump and Nahu doing a boxing ring. My nigga Trump will get that dub easy.
States is
So
not
who
the
is the
world's,
most powerful man in the world?
the United States is not the world's only superpower.
Oh, LeBron James. Yeah, y'all playing LeBron. Say LeBron not. Say you're not. Say LeBron not the most powerful man in the world right now. Say who ain't? All right, well, I thought LeBron James. Now I know about politics. This ain't no joke. LeBron James.
China has a larger economy. China didn't just lose a war to Iran. So, who knows what Chinese military strength actually.
No, that doesn't mean China's stronger than the United States. We're not losing a war to Iran. We just can't get what we want. It's not, okay, hold on. I lied. We're not losing the war to Iran. We just can't get it. We just can't make Israel happy. Because Trump hands is tied in that situation because nobody in the U.S. wants a war, so we're not going to support it. So we go to a full-scale, full invasion war, boots on ground like Russia did. It's going to look horrible. It's going to look horrible. The U.S. people don't want this. So of course he can't drop boots on the ground. If he really wanted to go to bat with Iran, we can go. I'm tired of y'all playing the U.S. military. Like y'all play, like y'all playing with us. It's like, bro, like what? You think Iran can really handle the U.S.? They haven't even touched our soil. They haven't gotten our airspace. What do you mean? We can bomb them wherever we want to. If we wanted to, we can drop a nuke. If we really wanted to. The only reason why we're not doing it because it want to affect other people. Why we're not full-scale bombing them niggas? Because we won't look like genocides more. It will have other effects in the world. But if Trump really do want to kill them niggas, he can kill them niggas. Y'all playing. Like y'all playing with the U.S. I hate that shit.
Amounts to. We are much less powerful than a lot of us thought we were 4 months ago. So we're not.
Because those missiles and those troops and shit, they ain't gonna talk about some China. Talk about how strong the Chinese military is. China only good with boots on ground. They got a bunch of troops. Their technology, their technology look cool. It look advanced. Cool. It looks great. Do it last? No. Now, how China military looking? China is helping Iran to give them missiles and shit. They give them supplies. That's why it's a fight. They get help from Russia and China. They get help from both. In fucking North Korea, they get help. And so it's not just the U.S. and not Iran by themselves, like bodying us. They're not. They're getting help. We're not getting help. We're the suppliers. It's a difference. It's literally a difference. We're the suppliers. We're singular. You got China and Russia and North Korea helping Iran. It's a 4v2. Well, not a 2. Israel don't do shit. We supply them. So it's a 4v1. This will go to 4v1 with 3 in the background. They already talked about they'll help Iran. So a full-scale war going on, they might help Iran. They might help. They even talk about building their own NATO. Like, come on. Stop playing the U.S., Tucker Carlson. You're not bullshit.
the only superpower at all. And that assumption is part of the problem.
Yeah, she's kind of Kathy Newmaning him, right? If you remember that Jordan Peterson exchange with Kathy Newman, it kind of propelled him to stardom in many ways. So you're saying that X, he never said he thinks that Netanyahu is the most powerful figure in the world. And earlier, she as a shill was saying, well, Trump's done this without Netanyahu by his side. Why does the physical proximity of Netanyahu to Trump really matter in this equation? It doesn't. They talk about things behind closed doors and on, sensitive phone line conversations, and the rhetoric they give to the public to propagandize their position and, in fact, drag the others, probably orchestrated in many ways. What we do know is that Trump hasn't used the leverage that the United States supposedly has over Israel to stop their occupation in Lebanon. And that's the biggest reason the ceasefire has collapsed. You had that incident with Oman and the different route through the Strait of Hormuz as well. But the number one point in the MOU was that the territorial integrity of Lebanon had to be respected. And not only has it not been respected, Israel wants to press in further. They want to continue the annexation for the cause of Greater Israel. So Netanyahu's proximity to Trump doesn't exactly matter. The real fact is that Trump won't use U.S. leverage to stop Israel from doing that, and that is why he has shown a willingness to sabotage his own peace deal for the sake of the Israel lobby.
That leads to hubris and overreach, and it's a very familiar path, but you overstate your powers. I would say that there are all kinds of forces in the world. One of them is China. There's also the international business community. We have a globalized economy. So there's no such thing as an American business or a British business or a German business. These are all interconnected, and global capital is more powerful than any voting bloc in the United States, period. And Israel as a nation, I'm not just including the 9 million people who live in Israel, but also its many agents in the United States, are enormously powerful because so much of the money that funds campaigns in the United States comes with the express purpose, the intent of tying American foreign policy to Israel's foreign policy. So it's a complicated thing, but the closer you look at it, and I've looked pretty closely, the more you understand that the elected president of the United States has power for sure, but he does not have sovereignty. He does not have unlimited power or full freedom of motion to act on behalf of his voters. He just doesn't. I mean, we're watching it now on this and many other topics.
Yeah, we are watching it. We watched it in the early 60s to some extent with JFK. But again, this is a matter of whether he does the bidding of the regime. And the regime is a deeply entrenched bureaucracy. It's part of a corporate media establishment, a political establishment that kind of makes rules and establishes economic and foreign policy and continuity regardless of who you elect, where you always seem to get the ramifications of John McCain, no matter who you act. But if you go against that regime, you go against the power center, the power structure, that's when you lose power. You become persona non grata. You see people within the state, the entrenched bureaucratic state, go after you. And Trump was willing to swim with the swamp creatures in the swamp to, bury the Epstein files. He was willing to do that to bankroll the genocide in Gaza. And he was willing to do that to launch a war in Iran. So he does become more powerful in those moments rather than whether he's resisting them, and that's when he does have power. So to this extent, I think Trump does have more power than Tucker's willing to say at this point, because he has largely gone with the bidding of the regime. But when he wants to pull back, that's when it would show that the president is less powerful. They tried to undermine him for treason, for being a Russian agent in his first term, and they largely were successful.
Hold on. Hey, Russia was doing some shit with Trump in the beginning. Don't do that. Russia was doing some shit with Trump in the beginning.
At that, at least until his political comeback, but they diminished his power greatly in that. They inspired him and encouraged him to give Ukraine weapons, which he later boasted about, of course, withdrew from the INF treaty, fanned the flames and acted bellicose toward Russia, all while saying that he's a Russian asset. They did almost successfully frame him for treason and ruin him both politically and personally for it. And that's when he had much less arguable power than he does now, launching these wars.
The second you start thinking I'm in charge now, I'm an important person, that's when your soul rots. And I just always wanted to remember that in the not famous enough words of Conan O'Brien, in the end, every grave goes unvisited. Like, that's the perspective that people need. That, you know, we do our best, but in the end, nobody cares. And we're not in charge of history. We're not God. And so I really fought against thinking, I have got a cable news show on some stupid cable news network that takes prostate health and pillow ads. And so I would try to not think about that at all. I never visited the White House. I never went to the movies or dinner there.
But he called you, didn't he? In the first time, President Trump used to call you.
Yeah, I talked to Trump all the time.
I mean, that doesn't happen to just anyone.
Well, but I knew him. Trump called me before he announced in 2015. I'll never forget it. I was in the car and he's like, I'm going to run for president. And I made fun of him because he did this in 2000. So 26 years ago, he like faked a presidential campaign to sell a book. So I laughed and I said, oh yeah, you're going to sell another book? And he goes, no, actually, I think I'm going to surprise you this time. And I just want to be clear. Trump is one of the most entertaining, charming, insightful people, fun to be with people in the world. And anyone who's ever had dinner with Trump can tell you, and I don't care how much you hate him or dislike his policies or whatever, you have dinner with Trump, you're going to have a great time. So,
yeah, a lot of people have said that. Even like Bill Maher, someone that's actually not the biggest Trump fan, has said that about him. Many firsthand accounts of them saying that. But what does it matter now when you're killing multitudes of people under the U.S. bankroll while Americans are suffering? Under good conditions where there's prosperity, where, you know, home ownership rates on average are in the lower 20s, it's actually the average homeowner is first-time homeowner is 40 now because of this. With inflation through the roof beyond what they're going to tell you with the CPI, citing the CPI as if that's some gospel when it comes to inflation. No, he's supporting genocides and supporting wars and burying the Epstein files, etc. The jokes don't land well enough anymore. The mispronunciations of Pete Buttigieg's name don't land as well as they did before. Clowning on Elizabeth Warren for being 1/1024th of a Native American, it just doesn't work as well. The humor has no purpose. This is all spent. All the Trump phenomenon has been, the energy behind it has been sucked out of the room with this schism among his coalition. That is what you're seeing now. So Trump's personal traits don't really matter anymore. Now, that's Tucker's explanation of being close with Trump. He didn't really have influence on the policy, and yet Americans love Tucker. He's maybe the biggest political commentator in the country. It's like him and Candace and Joe Rogan to some extent when he has political conversations. And there's some other contestants for that. But at the same time, it shows you how much the government is not a reflection of the average person's interests when clearly this war is unpopular. Something like 25% of the country supports it, but yet we get the policy anyways. It's because of the entrenched lobbies. The government's not a reflection of our interests. They're actually the antithesis to our interests, as it turns out.
No, I always liked him, always, you know, but anyway, I didn't expect this.
What do you think it's going to do to the Republicans in the midterms?
At Alliance Virtual Offices, we speak your language. We offer a professional workspace when you need it and freedom when you don't. You didn't come this far to play small.
I mean, they're going to be spanked. Yeah, they're going to be punished for it, of course. But the question is, does that make the country better? No, I mean, not really. I don't see any political leader right now speaking for the majority of Americans. I mean, the American economy is so lopsided at the moment that younger people are legit struggling, at least by American standards. And I don't see any political leaders really thinking about how to fix that or moving their priorities from, you know, a whole suite of different foreign conflicts back to the United States and spending the time thinking about, how do I elevate my people? How do I help the people who put me here?
So
I just don't see that mindset.
Is your third party idea a real one? You've floated it. You've said you want to help build one.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Well, I just want to be clear. I'm not running for any office ever. Okay. You know, I'm not being coy or pretending, you know, and then I'm going to like announce for, I'm not announcing for president. I'm running for president. Ugh. That's a nightmare. And I'm not doing that. But I just want to help. I want the promise of democracy to be real, that like you vote for someone and that person makes a.
You know what? I can agree with Tucker. I don't know. I don't know what third party view he has or what he want third party wise. But I think it should be a third party. I know there's like it is a third party. It's a green shit. Man, they never win. And yeah, I agree with Tucker on this one. I agree with Tucker. I think it should be a third party. If I would do it, I'll do it by piece.
Good faith effort to represent your interests. Like it's not complicated. So
Well, good luck with that in the federal apparatus. Here's where Tucker's a little bit more blue-pilled than I am. Democracy is just majoritarian tyranny. It's just the elimination of basic rights through a majority rule vote. That's all it is. It's two sheep. It's two wolves and a lamb arguing over what's for dinner and making that decision. It's really just bypassing natural rights on the basis of ganging up. That some rights aren't sacrosanct if they can just be voted away, and I don't think we're going to get that from the federal structure. Now, I agree with him. I think the Republicans are going to get spanked. I think there's going to be a blue wave, and lots of people will point out the economic problems in the United States, but no one Democratic or Republican seems to be pointing Americans toward the right answer to that. It's less government intrusion into their lives. It's less subsidies. It's less of these schemes to prop up the giant actors in the corporate world, regardless of which market they're under, to push out competition that would be threatening them if it were up to consumers as far as which companies thrive or fail. That's the purpose of the regulatory apparatus. That's the purpose of the revolving door phenomenon, where the people in government write the rules and then go back out to the corporate world and benefit from them. They are anti-competitive. They are there so that the big firms can push out competition and new products can't come to market. Big Pharma is an excellent example. There's only 4 insulin providers because the FDA has been so unwilling to allow competitors to come to market. Plenty of other examples in big tech, etc. This is what you have. You have the proper prognosis from the momdamies and, populists on the American right, but the answers always seem to be more spending, more government, more control, more regulations. No one outside of Thomas Massey really seems to be saying the opposite. We'll see if he runs. I'll certainly support him, but the prognosis is going to be correct. And on the proper prognosis, I think the Democrats are going to win. They're just going to provide solutions that are more government after government caused the catastrophes we're seeing pan out now.
Self-government is not that complicated. It's disappearing, but there are a lot of very ominous trends in the United States domestically that are just completely being ignored. And I would like someone to address them. And after Trump's performance over the past year, it's hard to believe that he's the guy who's going to reform. I mean, he is closely allied with the leaders of both parties. And this whole partisanship thing, and this is true in the UK too, with respect, it's kind of a ruse, actually. Like, they fight over these issues. They'll pick an issue, transgenderism, and they'll tell you that, they just got completely different worldviews on transgenderism, and that's like the most important thing. But what that cloaks, what it hides, what it's designed to obscure is the fact that on economics and foreign policy, the big questions that determine the fate of nations, they are aligned. And there are meaningful differences between the Democratic and Republican.
I get what Tucker's saying, because in that situation, it's like, bro, they will start some shit like, oh yeah, a big problem in the United States is these Mexicans. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's the damn Jews. That's what the problem is. It's the damn Jewish. It's not the Hispanics. It's not the Muslims become a problem, but it's not the Muslims. It's the damn Jewish. It's them. It's Zionists. It's them. They're the problem, in my opinion. They're the problem. And they control everything. They control our government. The Mexicans don't. The Muslims don't. They're trying to. Muslims trying to. Mexicans don't give a fuck. They just want to party and make tacos. And which I fuck with them. Shit, I'm with it. Shit. Like, I ain't mad at you. Shit, I party all day, make tacos too, nigga. I'm just trying to live life. They work hard. I'm trying to live life. And but yeah, nah, bro, it's a Jewish.
Republican parties, to the extent that they're voting bases do disagree in real ways. I'm saying that the people who run the parties are fundamentally aligned. And one of the ways you know that is because Trump brings us to war on February 28th without making the case to the American public, without convincing even the majority of Americans this is a good idea. Like, no one was for this from day one. So you would think, given that this is a country with a long history of boisterous public protests, that there would be massive protests against the war. No, none, zero. Well, why is that? Where were the Democrats on this? Like, they could mobilize 1 million people and put them on the National Mall in Washington, but they didn't. Because they're for it. That's why. Because Chuck Schumer is 100% for this. There may be details he disagrees with, but basically, he's wanted regime change on behalf of Israel in Iran for many years. So that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to have a system where the average person has no representation.
He's just one Democratic leader, and there are others who have very different views on the war. You know,
Which ones? Hakeem Jeffries isn't different. Chuck Schumer isn't different. The Democratic...
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know who's Democrat. I don't know who's Republican. And to be honest with you, I really don't give a fuck right now. The only thing I give a fuck about is who's gonna stop Israel doing what they doing. That's it. I don't care who's in what seat. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. And I don't care your sexuality. If you're gonna stop Israel and stop the aid and put America first, then I'm voting for you. That's all it is. I'm voting for you.
leadership is beyond this. They'll slam Trump for political reasons, but those Democratic leaders are for continued support to Israel. There is an activist base in the Democratic Party that isn't, but Tucker's exactly right here. And pointing out that Schumer's just one leader doesn't give any counterexamples to what Tucker is saying. There is a uniparty effort to prop up the Israel lobby in all of their latest campaigns, including the Iran war. So Tucker's not wrong about that one.
Really?
Much more,
so name
much
one.
more aligned to yours.
Name a Democratic leader
Zoran
who
Mamdani.
has a sincere... He's the mayor. He's the mayor of New York.
He
has no foreign policy portfolio.
That is
okay.
That is a prominent
She pulled that out her ass, by the way.
and arguably very influential position right now to hold as
That's why she's laughing. She pulled that out her fucking ass.
a Democratic politician.
COVID czar Amy Acton closed businesses and made inflation skyrocket. Ohio can't afford liberal Amy Acton.
OHIO.
But it doesn't affect foreign policy. This is a nonsensical argument. I think that's the most dishonest part of this interview, by the way, if you watch the whole thing. For her to say that Zoran Mamdani is a prominent Democrat that objects to this war, it's like, fine, but he has no control over the federal foreign policy apparatus. But ostensibly, the Democrats in Congress do. Chuck Schumer would. Hakeem Jeffries would. But they're in lockstep with the Israel lobby. And again, they'll smear Trump over the disaster that this war has become, but they've been talking about funding Israel and supporting the wars that people like Barack Obama had waged on behalf of the Israel lobby, namely Libya and Syria, and also Yemen, but the Israel lobby didn't really play a major role compared to the Saudis in the Yemen conflict. Somalia, too. Bombing Somalia over all those years was supported by this same Democratic leadership. So it's just dishonest to say, yeah, Mamdani's a Democratic leader that disagrees. Well, yeah, you can say that, but again, no tangible influence over the federal foreign policy apparatus there. And Tucker's exactly right. Today, Americans are used to waking up and learning which war their president launched, which war the commander-in-chief launched, because we're in a post-constitutional age where Congress just ignores the Constitution. They just defer all their power in declaring war, which is spelled out very clearly in Article 1, Section 8 to the president. And they just defer that power to the presidency to determine which country the United States is at war with. And very few questions are asked. And not only are very few questions asked outside of a few people like Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna and some others that have united for this common cause, this common coalition, they go to Congress and say, we're going to stop any effort to get us individually on the record over whether we support this war. We don't want our constituents to know whether we support it, whether we put our name behind it, because that will threaten our potential future elections that could oust us from power. That's the world in which you live. And exactly right. I mean, say what you want about George W. Bush, the Iraq War. He was a bloodthirsty murderer. The neocons in power were bloodthirsty murderers. But there was a year of propaganda to prepare the American people for the reasons why their war was going to be launched. And it was backward. It was full of lies. It was full of absurdities that, you know, had nothing to do with the United States security, had nothing to do with fighting terrorism whatsoever. But they did set a 1-year period to propagandize Americans into that war. They made the argument, and it was actually pretty coherent. Whereas now these wars, lines from the administration, whether it be Rubio or Trump or Vance, they contradict themselves one sentence to the next in some cases, one day to the next, sometimes within the day, where Trump was saying, hey, the deal's off, we don't have an MOU anymore, and then saying a few hours later, well, they're dying for a deal. It's utter lies. So this is the breaking point that many Americans have. It's why so many people have shifted away from this mentality of just supporting a tribe when it launches a war and being behind that team 100%, especially when it comes to the Israel lobby. More than ever, American eyes are awakening, and it's a good thing. I think Tucker handled this interview very well. What do you guys think? Do you think he's right?
I think Tucker did right. I think Trump tripping. I think Israel tripping. I mean, Tucker ain't lying. He's not lying, bro. Democrats won it. Republicans run it. They all want it. They all want the war. Israel got us in a chokehold, bro. She's crazy.